Good morning, learners and viewers. Welcome to the section of Maintenance Management MMPO 007. We will be continuing with Unit 3, that is Maintenance Planning and Scheduling. Now, the thing is that what is meant by maintenance planning? Planning in the context of maintenance means the process by which all the elements required to perform a task are determined and prepared prior to starting of the job. Planning is a process of detailed analysis that determines and describes the work to be performed, the sequence of associated tasks, method to be used for the performance, and the required resources, including skills, crew size, man hours, parts, special tools and equipments, and an estimate of the total cost. It is also includes identification of safety precautions, required permits, communication requirement, and the preference documents such as drawings and wiring diagrams. It addresses essential preparation, execution and startup efforts, work estimates, that is, the setting of job duration and labor estimates, how much manpower and how much man hours will be required, and the activation of required procurements are part of the planning process. Maintenance planning is a systematic process that involves identifying, scheduling, and organizing maintenance activities to ensure assets and equipment operation efficiently, safely, and reliably. A well structured maintenance programming process is essential for minimizing downtime, optimizing resource allocation, and achieving cost effective maintenance outcomes. Maintenance planning serves several critical purposes, such as minimizing downtime. By scheduling maintenance during planned downtime, unplanned interruptions to operations can be reduced. Second one is resource optimization. Efficient allocation of labor, material, and equipment leads to a cost effective maintenance execution. Thirdly, safety. Proper planning includes safety precautions and measures, ensuring the well being of personnel and assets. Fourth one is asset longevity. Regular and well planned maintenance helps extend the life of the assets, maximizing in return on investment. The planning process comprises of all the functions related to the preparation of the work order, bill of material, purchase requisition, necessary drawings, labor planning sheets, job standards, and all the data needed prior to scheduling and releasing the work order. An effective planning procedure should include the following. First one is work identification and prioritization. The maintenance planning process begins with identifying maintenance tasks through various means such as routine inspection, condition monitoring, historical data analysis, and feedback from operations team. Prioritization is crucial to focus resources on critical tasks that have a significant impact on production, safety, and asset performance. Secondly, defining scope and objectives. Each maintenance task should have a clearly defined scope, including the specific work to be performed, necessary resources, and expected outcomes. Objectives such as reducing downtime or improving asset reliability should also be outlined. Third one is resource allocation. Efficient resource allocation involves determining the manpower, tools, equipments, and material required for each maintenance task. This ensures that resources are available when needed and that maintenance activities are not delayed due to lack of resources. Fourth one is estimating job duration and complexity. Accurate estimation of task duration is essential for effective scheduling. Complex tasks might require longer preparation time or specified expertise, while routine tasks can be completed quickly and fastly. Fifth one is developing maintenance work orders. Maintenance work orders are detailed documents that outline the task, resources, safety precautions, and scheduling of each maintenance activity. They serve as a guide for maintenance technicians and provide a record of the work performed. Now, what is the role of a maintenance planner? The basic maintaining planning principles are: the maintenance planners are organized into a separate department to facilitate specializing in planning techniques as well as focusing on future work. Secondly, the planning department concentrates on future work, work that has not been started, in order to provide the maintenance department at least 1 week or work backlog that is planned, approved, and ready to execute. This backlog allows maintenance department to work primarily on planned work. The planning department maintains a simple, secure file system based on equipment tag numbers. The file system enables planners to utilize equipment data and information learned on previous work to prepare and improve work plans, especially on repeated maintenance tasks. The priority of maintenance tasks are repetitive over a sufficient period of time. Fourthly, the planners use personal experience and file information to develop work plans to avoid anticipated work delays and quality or safety problems. As a minimum, planners are experienced top level technicians that are trained in planning techniques. Fifth one is the planning department determines the scope of the work request, including clarification of the originator's intent where necessary. That is, work requiring engineering is sent to plant engineering before planning. Maintenance planners play a pivotal role in the planning process. They are primarily responsible for collaborating with operations and maintenance team to identify maintenance needs, developing comprehensive work orders with accurate instructions, and ensuring availability of necessary resources, scheduling tasks to minimize operational disruptions, and coordinating with vendors and contractors if needed, and continuously improving planning processes based on feedback and data analysis. The next part is maintenance scheduling. Maintenance scheduling is a critical aspect of effective maintenance management that involves coordinating and sequencing maintenance tasks in a way that optimizes assets availability, minimizes operational disruptions, and maximizes resource utilization. A well structured maintenance schedule ensures that maintenance activities are performed efficiently while aligning with production requirements. Maintenance scheduling plays a crucial role in achieving operational efficiency, assets reliability, and cost effectiveness by the way of minimizing disruptions. That can only be done by scheduling maintenance during planned downtime or low demand periods. Operational disruptions can be minimized. Optimizing resource utilization means efficient scheduling ensures that labor, material, and equipment are used effectively, reducing costs, balancing production and maintenance needs. Scheduling prevents conflict between production and maintenance requirements. Maintenance scheduling is a process by which jobs are matched with resources and sequenced to be executed at certain point in time. Basic maintenance scheduling principles are job plans providing number of persons required, lowest critical craft skill level, work hours per skill level, and job duration information are necessary for advanced scheduling. Weekly and daily schedules must be adhered to as closely as possible. Prior priorities must be placed on new work orders to prevent undue interruption of these schedules. Thirdly, a scheduler develops a 1 week schedule for each crew based on a craft hours available, forecast that shows highest skill levels available, job priorities, and information from job planners. Fourthly, the 1 week schedule assigns work for every available worker. The schedule allows for emergencies and high priority reactive jobs by scheduling a sufficient amount of work hours on easily interrupted tasks. The crew supervisor develops a daily schedule 1 day in advance using current job progress, 1 week schedule, and new high priorities reactive jobs as a guide. The crew supervisor matches personal skills and tasks. The crew supervisor also handles the current day's work and problems, even to rescheduling the entire crew for emergencies. Wrench 9 is the primary measure of workforce efficiency and of planning and scheduling effectiveness. Work that is planned before assignment reduces unnecessary delays during jobs, and work that is scheduled reduces delay between the jobs. There are several types of maintenance scheduling approaches, which can be broadly categorized into following three types. The first one is fixed schedule. As the name suggests, fixed scheduling involves performing maintenance tasks on a predefined calendar based schedule. It is suitable for routine and time based tasks like filter changes or inspections. Second one is rolling schedule. Rolling schedule involves continuously adjusting the maintenance schedule based on real time conditions and operational demands. It is useful for adaptive maintenance approaches like predictive and condition based strategies. And the third one is dynamic schedule. Dynamic schedule adjusts maintenance based on real time data, system conditions, and operational priorities. This approach is often used in complex, high tech industries where assets interact dynamically. Planning the maintenance work is a prerequisite for sound scheduling. While a robust maintenance plan ensures flawless scheduling of maintenance jobs, it is often suggested that the following steps need to be followed while drawing up a maintenance schedule. First one is work order review, how much work has to be performed. The scheduling process starts with reviewing maintenance work orders, understanding their scope, and assessing the resources required. This also involves sorting out backlog work orders by crafts. Secondly, resource availability. Identify the availability of labor, equipment, materials, and tools needed for each task. This step ensures that required resources are in place before scheduling. Third one is task sequencing. Determine the optimal sequence in which tasks should be performed. Sequencing considers factors such as task dependency, resource availability, and production needs. Also considered are job duration, location, travel distance, and the possibility of combining jobs in the same area. Fourth one is downtime coordination. For tasks that require asset downtime, coordinate with production to minimize the impact on operations. Fifth one is schedule creation. We generate a comprehensive maintenance schedule that outlines the timing, sequence, resources, and estimated duration of each task. Sixth one is communication. Effective communication with maintenance technicians, operation teams, and other stakeholders. Ensure everyone is aware of the schedule and their roles. The maintenance schedule can be prepared at three levels, depending on the horizon of the schedule. Level 1 is long range or master schedule. This is the highest level of maintenance schedule, having a close linkage with strategic level maintenance plan, and it offers covers a period of up to 2 years. Most of the other two levels of such schedule are derived from the long range schedule. Long range schedule is based on existing maintenance work orders, including blanket work orders, backlog, preventive maintenance, and anticipated emergency maintenance. It should balance long term demand for frame maintenance work with available resources. Level 2 is weekly maintenance schedule. The weekly maintenance schedule is generated from the long run range schedule and takes into account the current operation schedules with economic considerations. The weekly schedule should allow for about 10 to 15% of the workforce to be available for the emergency work. The planner should provide the schedule for the current week and the following week, taking into consideration the available backlog if they are there. Level 3 is daily maintenance schedule. As the name suggests, this schedule encompasses the work of maintenance tasks to be completed on daily basis. The daily schedule is generated from the weekly schedule and is usually prepared the day before. This schedule is frequently interrupted to perform emergency maintenance. The established priorities are used to schedule the jobs, and in some organizations, the schedule is handed to the area supervisor who assigns the work according to the established priorities. Now we have heard the word of maintenance work orders. Now we will see what these actually are. The exercise of maintenance schedule results in creation of maintenance work orders. Maintenance work orders are essential documents that serve as a roadmap of executing maintenance tasks. They provide a detailed description of the work to be performed, necessary resources, safety precautions, and scheduling. Maintenance work orders serve several critical purposes, such as clarity and consistency. Work orders provide clear instructions, reducing confusion and errors during maintenance tasks. Secondly, resource allocation. Work orders specify the required labor, tools, equipment, and materials for efficient execution. Third one is safety. Safety instructions are and precautions are outlined to protect personnel and assets from the damage. Fourth one is documentation. Work orders create a historical record of maintenance activities, aiding in future analysis and decision making. A comprehensive work order should include the following components. First one is asset information, which specifies the equipment or assets to be worked on, including its location, where it is, indication number, identification number of the machine number, and at any relevant technical details. Secondly, description of the work. What is the nature? Provide a clear and detailed description of the maintenance task to be performed. This may include specific steps, procedures, and special instructions. Thirdly, resource requirements. Outline the necessary resources such as skilled labors, tools, equipment, and material need to complete the task. Safety precautions, which includes safety guidelines and precautions that must be followed to ensure the well being of the personnel and the protection of the assets. Scheduling, this specifies the start and end dates of the maintenance task. For tasks that require downtime, ensure coordination with production schedules. Authorization and signatures. This includes space for necessary approvals and signatures from relevant parties such as maintenance supervisors, managers, or safety officers. Depending on the organization needs and the complexity of the task, an organization may adopt various forms of maintenance work order system, starting from manual system to a highly automated process with the support of technology. And some of these are paper-based forms. These are traditional paper-based forms, provides a structured template for writing down work order details, and they are easily accessible and can be used in various environments because that is only an information on paper. Second one is electronic templates. Digital templates created using word processing software or spreadsheet applications provide a more organized and easily shareable format. Third one is computerized maintenance management system, that is CMMS. This CMMS platform offers comprehensive work order management. They allow creation, assignment, tracking, and reporting of work orders electronically. Fourth one is mobile application. Mobile apps enables technician access and update work orders in real time, enhancing communication and efficiency. The fifth one is barcode or QR code. QR code is quick response code work orders. Using barcodes or QR codes and equipment allows technicians to quickly scan and access digital work orders details. Now we move to block 2, that is maintenance resource management. In that, unit 4 is there, which is maintenance costing and budgeting. That means now we will be talking about the costs and how the budgeting process for maintenance application is performed in an organization. All the big manufacturing units maintain their own maintenance and repair department. A series of service order accounts are opened to ascertain the exact cost of each maintenance or repair work. Each service order will be given a distinct number and will be debited with all expenditure of material, labor, and other direct charges for repair and maintenance. An addition is also made for work and office indirect expenses on a suitable basis. The total will then be included in factory overheads and is also used for maintenance planning, budgeting, and control. Sometimes an expenditure is incurred by the company's own workmen, which gives rise to a capital asset. In such cases, the expenses on material and labor are debited to the capital order account. All such expenditures will not be debited to work overhead, but be capitalized by passing on an appropriate entry in the books of account. Maintenance cost is generally the total cost incurred in doing the maintenance job and keeping a maintenance organization. The treatment of costs associated with other activities like constructions, modifications, rearrangement, and removal of building equipment and assets depends on the nature of job undertaken. Cost of no maintenance or inadequate maintenance are like opportunity costs. These lost opportunities include a lower rate of output, poor quality of products, wastage, defects, damage to equipment, reduction in useful life of the equipment, etc. These costs are not recorded in any accounting system and are often overlooked while exercising control over maintenance costs. A good maintenance policy should incorporate the maintenance and lost opportunity costs due to inadequate maintenance. Now, what is meant by maintenance costing? Costing is a technique of ascertaining costs and it includes or it consists of analyzing, recording, classifying, and appropriately allocating expenditures to determine the cost of products or services, comparing them against standards or budgets, reporting and recommending. The costing of the maintenance department involves three steps. First one is collection and classification of maintenance costs. Second one is departmentalization of maintenance cost. And the third one is absorption of maintenance cost. We'll see what collection and classification of maintenance cost is. This cost, maintenance cost, includes cost incurred on large number of activities. And these some activities could be cost of manpower and facilities dedicated to maintenance department for repair and maintenance. Cost of preventive maintenance to improve the availability of the assets. Cost of resources like equipments and other facilities for condition monitoring and diagnostic maintenance. Cost for material like spare lubricants and other consumables, tools, etc. Cost for purchase and stores department, looking after the maintenance activities, including salaries of clerks, etc. Cost of stationery, printing of formats, computers and accessories. Cost of subcontracting maintenance work to outsider agencies. See, all these parameters are included into the maintenance cost. Maintenance cost may be classified according to their nature, function, and number of other characteristics. So we will see some of them. When we talk about the material, it includes the cost of the spare parts, lubricating oil, cotton waste, etc. In terms for labor, salary paid to the maintenance manager and other officers, wages to maintenance workers and supervisors, and after all, over to this since they are working, the overtime wages are also included into it. Thirdly, it is overheads. Store expenses including salaries of storekeepers and other expenses in handling spare parts. Now, second norm is according to the normality. Normal maintenance cost and abnormal maintenance cost. According to the type of maintenance action, it can be breakdown maintenance activity or preventive or planned maintenance activity. According to the controllability, that is controllable cost and uncontrollable cost. According to the behavior, it could be fixed cost, variable cost, and semi-variable cost. And according to the type of the budget, it is revenue cost or it is the capital cost. Second one was departmentalization of maintenance cost. After classification and collection of maintenance cost, the next step is distribution of cost to the different processes, equipments, product or departments. This involves the allocation and appropriation of maintenance cost. Allocation of maintenance costs. Under this, there are certain management maintenance costs which can be directly estimated for different departments. These expenses are cost of spare parts, wages of maintenance workers associated with only one department, contribution to provident fund and other prerequisite paid to these workers, etc. Such expenses are directly charged to these departments for which they are incurred. Second one is appropriation of maintenance cost. Certain expenses such as salary of maintenance manager and maintenance staff catering to more than one department, consumables like lubricating oil, gloves, cotton waste, etc., are incurred for the factory as a whole, and therefore they will have to be appropriated over all departments. There is no hard and fast rule as regards the basics to be applied for appropriation of maintenance costs. The following methods can work as guiding rules. It can be according to the capital value of the asset, according to the technical estimates, according to production hours of the equipment, actual services utilized if records are available, and according to the hours worked on each equipment or department, and according to the past experience. Now, distribution of office and administration overheads of maintenance department. The office overheads of maintenance department shall be charged to different equipments, processes, departments on a suitable basis. Since the maintenance overheads constitute a small portion of the total cost, it will not be advisable to follow a complicated method for their absorption. The blanket overhead rate may be computed for the entire maintenance work, and the maintenance overhead rate can be calculated as total maintenance overhead rate divided by total maintenance cost into 100. The following are some of the guidelines in devising a procedure. We should avoid duplication and unnecessary work in meeting the different needs of the accounting and maintenance department. Ensure that the procedure provides timely information to both departments in a form of which aids effective control. Then comes costing sheet. A consolidated statement of maintenance costing can be prepared as given in the table. In this table, the various activities are listed row-wise and the elements of the cost are listed column-wise. To ease the determination, distribution, and control of maintenance cost, a suitable coding system should be established. This might be prepared keeping in view the activities of the organization and details of costing required. You can see over here, this is an example that unit activity, capital, and revenue. And numbering has been provided to them. As far as production department is concerned, that includes plant and equipment, tools, material handling system, utilities, it includes water, electricity, steam, air, surface transport, vehicles, rail, safety and welfare services, that is fire alarm, canteen, dispensary, toilets, and miscellaneous services is modification and demolition. A coding has been provided to all these activities. The production establishment of the organization and the work classification within them must be coded in a manner that segregates them by units, operations, or plant. Similar items at different units should have a common code modified to identify the particular unit concerned. Further, these operations and activities must be allotted the appropriate cost count classification, which must be so coded so as to segregate them. If these two requirements are met, costs can be equitably distributed and controlled with any desired degree of refinement. Purposeless analysis must, of course, be avoided. Application of maintenance costing. Now, where they are used, costing makes comparison possible. If the costing records are regularly kept, comparative cost data for different periods and various types of repairs is available. A good maintenance costing system provides a complete, valid evaluation of not only the maintenance organization but also of the production facilities. The data should present the following information. What information should be communicated? A broad analysis and summation of maintenance cost for each unit and for the group. Identification of trends or comparisons with standard costs or budgeted costs. Thirdly, a measure of the incidence of the breakdown in terms of their effect on production. Fourthly, the report of the costing can be useful in the following manners: labor control and productivity improvement, workload measurement, formulation of objectives and policies, production cooperation, and staff development service. Now, what are the objections to maintenance costing? Some managers are averse to putting the maintenance costing system and give the following arguments. The system is quite expensive because analysis, allocation, and apportionment of cost and absorption of overheads require considerable amount of clerical time. Secondly, costing system in itself does not control cost or improve efficiency. If the management is alert and efficient, it can control costs without the aid of this system. The next title is maintenance budgeting. A budget is a detailed plan of operations for some specific future period. It is an estimate prepared in advance of the period to which it applies. Different types of budgets are prepared by an industrial concern for different purposes. The maintenance budget is an estimate of its requirements for spare parts, manpower, consumables, and other expenses. It is prepared to bring efficiency and economy in the maintenance activities. Five key elements of maintenance budget. When creating a maintenance budget for the first time, there are five inputs one must take into account. First one is status. Second one is original equipment manufacturers data, historical performance, operating strategy, and maintenance strategy. What are the different types of maintenance budgets? In any type of maintenance department, budgeting is an absolutely essential task. It is the essential device that exerts control over the department's financial resources, which are required for efficient cost planning and management of activities inside the department. There are typically two distinct budget formats utilized in the upkeep and maintenance of the facilities. Both of these budgets are referred to as operational budgets and the project budget. The operating budget, this kind of budget evaluates each category of operating expenses projected for every department within the organization. It is usually consists of at least four headings: the cost of the labor, the cost of the required materials, cost of the tools and technical resources, and the cost of contracted services. That means the services which have been outsourced. The cost of labor consists of these four concepts: the annual fixed amount received by each department worker. Staff costs include staff transport to the plant. That is, in some countries, the employer takes care of the cost. Organizations with excellent management promote training among workers by subsidizing the cost of training and obligatory social cost of the organization. Second one is project budget. This budget is concerned with special projects such as major capital equipment purchases, major construction projects, etc. The funds required for such projects are not included in the operating cost, but that is another source. The project budget is divided into different types, such as labor, material, and overhead expenses needed to complete the defined project. Budget preparation approaches. There are two practical approaches to prepare a budget, which includes the historical approach and the zero based approaches. As far as historical approach is concerned, it is easier to prepare and requires relatively little paperwork. Professionals involved with this budget preparation approach rely on previous year's experience to determine cost estimates for the coming year. And in zero based approach, it is harder to prepare and consumes more time and paperwork. This is because professionals are expected to develop the budget from scratch without taking into reference of the past budgets. This is more efficient as current requirements or priorities are just justified by funds. Zero based budgeting. A zero based budget breaks the overall demand for maintenance services into its constituents, that is, assets or areas. In addition to the unit or asset list, a zero-based budgets are has allocation for certain areas that are hard to define as assets, such as electrical system or pavements. Preventive maintenance, under this, it is based on the facility and equipment size, use management, construction, and the standard time for the preventive maintenance activities. The total time for preventive maintenance activities is calculated in a total productive. Second one is corrective maintenance. The deficiencies in the facility or equipment found during preventive maintenance are recorded separately and taken up as scheduled maintenance. These are considered scheduled work so long they don't interrupt in job process. Third one is user maintenance, that is UM. In the maintenance based on the request received from the user department. This includes both routine as well as breakdown maintenance required. Previous year data can be used to budget this exercise. Seasonal maintenance, review of roofing, checking of air conditioners during summer are seasonal maintenance. Some percentage of seasonally driven emergencies are also included in this list. Budgets are based on history. Fifth one is replacement rehabilitation maintenance. Under this type of maintenance, it is also called capital improvement maintenance. This is required either at the end of useful life or to improve the performance of the equipment. Social demand. These activities include preparation for visiting dignitaries or work on non-organizational equipments and facilities, that is charity work. Estimates the hours and material on these activities. Expansion. Any expansion in the size of facility, size of workforce, addition of scope of control will expand the overall budget requirements. New facilities disrupt the current activities as well as taking direct time. Catastrophes. Every part of the country has characteristic catastrophes. This could be floods, hurricane, fire, even earthquake, and some labor hours and materials to do budget. What is the importance of maintenance budget? It is possible for the process of developing a comprehensive maintenance budget to be a difficult one, as there are many factors to take into account, several stakeholders to consult, and a large amount of data for sort through. Because of the difficulty of the task, some maintenance managers are tempted to use the expenditures from the year before and then increase them by a small amount. By bearing in mind the repercussions that could result for doing it wrong, the strategy is not always the most appropriate one. Now, Unit 5, which is spare parts and inventory management. The management of a company's spare parts, stock, and warehouse are frequently tied not only to the operation of the companies but also to the maintenance division of the organizations. This is owing to the fact that the company's goods require repair and maintenance, which in turn requires the usage of both spare parts and stock, as well as storing space. It is essential part of the management of the upkeep activities that takes place on a daily basis, as well as the preparation of preventive work that will take place in a foreseen future. The availability of an adequate supply of replacement parts is one of the major criteria for determining whether or not an corporation is performing at its maximum potential. The inventory policy can have an effect on a variety of expenditures, including the cost of purchasing inventory, the cost of retaining inventory, and the cost of exercising an inventory shortage. That means all parameters are included. In addition to these direct or indirect cost components, the inventory management approach that is selected is also related with a wide range of other cost components. The expenditures that are incurred to maintain an excellent state of the inventory can be broken down into three categories. First one is operations cost, second one is depreciation charges, and the third one is investment capital costs. Shortest cost will apply in the event that the specified demand cannot be satisfied with the currently available inventory of replacement parts. In the context of fighter operations, a lack of spare parts limits the operational availability of fighters, which in turn increases the amount of time spent on maintenance and repairs. The availability of production equipments is increased thanks to the spare component inventory, which also helps to maintain a healthy expenditure level in relation to the amount of stock available for replacement parts and the level of service provided to internal customers. What is the meaning of spare part inventory? The term spare part inventory refers to a list of stock goods that are used by maintenance professionals to replace broken down components of various pieces of equipment. Manufacturing facilities retain a stock of spare parts on hand, including belts, motors, gears, and lubricant, so that they can repair broken pieces of equipment without having to first place an order for the part and then wait to be delivered. Properly managing spare parts inventory can result in considerable savings for a company. First off, physical stocking of parts can be reduced by properly accounting for existing inventory and setting proper stocking levels and replenishment actions. Secondly, having the proper spare part available when required will greatly reduce production downtime and equipment availability. What is the role of spare part inventory management? Spare part management plays an important role in achieving the desired plant availability at an optimum cost. Manufacturing units are normally capital intensive, mass production oriented, and with sophisticated technology. The unique problem faced by the manufacturing unit management in controlling or managing the spare parts are: firstly, there is an element of uncertainty as to when a part is required and also the quantity of its requirement. This is due to the fact that the failure of component, either due to wearing out or due to other reasons, cannot be predicted accurately. Secondly, spare parts are not that easily available in the market as they are not fast moving items. The original equipment manufacturer has to supply the spares in most of the cases. New models are introduced to incorporate the design improvement, and old models are phased out. Thirdly, the number and the variety of spare parts are too large, making the close control more and more tedious. Next one is there is a tendency from the stage of purchases of the equipment to the stage of the use of the spare parts to requisition spare parts more number than that of actually required, and accumulation of spare part takes place. Finally, the rate of consumption of some of the spare parts is very high, whilst for some others is very low. What is the objectives of spare part management? The objective of spare part management is to ensure availability of spares for maintenance and repairs for the plant and machinery as and when required at an optimum cost. Also, the spares are to be of right quality. Some of the benefits by utilizing systematic approach to spare part management includes reduced inventory cost, justified basis for carrying inventory, reduced probability of running out of stock, address total cost of ownership for supply chain management, improved conditions of spares, and linkage of spare parts level to actual critically of assets. What is the need? Why it is needed? Factors which necessitate scientific spare management part are random and unpredictable pattern of failure of machines and equipments, long lead time required for procurement of spare parts from original equipment manufacturer, and difficulty in manufacturing of spare parts because of non-availability of special machines, high tendency for obsolescence of machine and equipments. With the passage of time, model changes. When model changes, its components also changes. Effective spare part management system. The organization is to go forward in a methodological manner in order to build an efficient system for the management of spare parts. The organization is able to minimize the duplication of spare parts stocking, which leads to a reduction in inventory. And to ensure that the management of spare parts is effective, there are a lot of different standardized steps that need to be taken. The following methodological procedures for the management of spare parts are identifying of replacement components, a projection for the need of spare parts, an examination of available spare parts, establishment of regulation for the selective application of control across a variety of categories, control system for the inventory of spare parts are now being developed, maintaining a stock of insurance policies for both capital and insurance spares, policies regarding the stocking of rotating spares and sub-assemblies, replacement policy for spare parts, examination of auxiliary components, the total production of replacement parts, remanufacturing of used or discarded components, that is recycling, the establishment of a bank of spare parts, and application of computing technology to the management of spare parts. So these are the steps which are need to be taken. Analysis of spare parts inventory. Analyzing the inventory of spare parts based on several criteria such as the frequency of issues, the annual consumption value, the criticality, the lead time, and the end unit price is vital for successful management of spare parts. These characteristics includes the following. There is a very important because it will not be able to exercise the same sort of control over all the spare part things. And it is also possible that the same type of control will not be very effective all over the spare parts item. The description of many assessments of the inventory of spare parts that are commonly used are FSM analysis. The frequency of problems and the amount of time spent using spare parts are taken into account in this form of classification. Now we have to understand what this FSN means. FS, this refers to the spare parts that are rapidly moved. S is spare parts that are slowly moved. And N is, this refers to the spare parts items that do not move. This method of classification identifies the things that are frequently issued, the things that are issued for usage less frequently, and the things that are not issued for an extremely extended length of time. This classification assists management in determining the most appropriate shop layout for the spare parts inventory. In addition to this, it provides guidance to the of the organizations regarding the distribution of the resources for the purchase of replacement parts. Second one is ABC analysis. This method of classifying the spare part components is based on the idea of Pareto's 80-20 rule and uses the annual consumption value as the primary criterion. According to this classification scheme, type A refers to the 10% that are responsible for 70% of overall consumption. Type BAs are the spares that make another 20% of the total, and they are responsible for around 20% of the overall consumption value. And the third one is this makes up the remaining 70% of the total, but they are only responsible for 10% of the total consumption value. Here we see ABC analysis, class A, 10% of total space, 70% of the consumption value. Class B is 20% of the total space and 20% of the total consumption value. And class C is 70% of the total space and 10% of the consumption value. Third one is VED analysis. The degree of necessity of the spare part is taken into consideration for this kind of classification. The amount of production downtime that is lost as a result of spare parts Not being accessible when it is required is one way to evaluate how critical a spare part is. Conventionally, spare parts are separated into three categories, that is, V for vital, E for essential, and D for desired. These categories are based on the level of importance they hold. That is D. The VD analysis is helpful in directing the management's attention to key things and assuring the availability of those items through frequent evaluation and reporting. With this, we will be concluding today's session.